Hi there. We're going to take just a few minutes to think about the concept of economic well-being and how it differs from economic growth. Well, growth is a fairly textbook idea. It's the increase in real GDP over time, and it's also defined as a long-term increase in a country's productive potential. And growth is important. We need growth to lift per capita incomes, to drive people out of absolute poverty, to increase the basic core standard of living. But we know that GDP per capita is a somewhat flawed and often inaccurate measure of even basic living standards in a country. We've covered that in separate topic videos. What many economists are concerned about is a slightly wider concept, economic welfare, and indeed even wider than that, social welfare. So there's now much more interest in the idea of economic well-being rather than pure economic growth. Economic welfare or well-being is a much broader measure of our happiness, of our quality of life. It brings social and economic factors into play. Not everything that matters to us can be measured. Not everything that really concerns us is a material aspect of our life. And a lot of economic welfare measures now try to capture the scale of inequality and also what's happening to people right in the middle of the income distribution as a measure rather than the mean. So economic well-being is best defined, I think this is a great thing for your notes here, as a multi-dimensional concept that goes beyond just the level or the rate of growth of GDP. We're not going to throw GDP out completely. We will include it in our measure of well-being. Per capita incomes are important, but we add in a few other bits and pieces. Here are some examples. We don't just look at income per head, we look at spending per head. Instead of looking at average income, we might look at the median income. Come back to that in a second. Instead of just looking at income, we also look at wealth. So household wealth, what are the value of people's assets, both physical and financial, but also think about how much they owe, how much debt people have. So net wealth is the value of assets minus liabilities. We look at not just the value of output, but the number of people in work, the unemployment rate, plus the employment rate, how many people have a job or are looking for work. And crucially, we take a much broader look at the financial position of households. And do they feel secure, both in their jobs? Do they feel their current household position is secure? And also going forward, how worried are they about the future? So well-being, the key point to take away from this slide is that it captures more indicators than just GDP per capita or income per head. And one of those measures is median income. Now, median income is the middle household. If we took all the households from lowest to highest, the median household is right bang smack in the middle. We're going to measure disposable income, which is income of all the earnings that you have, wages and salaries, and interest from savings and rental income perhaps. All that income plus the investment income plus any cash benefits from the state minus direct taxes, income tax, national insurance, and council tax. So this is like post-tax income, disposable income. What do we find? We find that real median disposable income does go in a cycle. Over time it has improved. So we've put in the cursor here, 12,376 in 1977. There was a fallow period in the early 80s, deep recession then. Strong period in the late 80s here. Another recession in the early 1990s. Then strong growth. When we get to 2002, figure is 24,512. We get to 2007, the figure is 25,691. Now what does this show? It shows that since 2007, real median disposable income in the UK is lower in 2015 than it was in 2007. It's picked up in the last couple of years, but in fact we've had about eight years or so where real median disposable incomes have been lower. Now this is important because the GDP per capita figures are telling us that the economy is getting better. GDP is certainly recovered from above the previous peak, but real median disposable income is lower. And that is a sign of the times. It's a sign that although the economy is growing, our economic well-being, as measured by that, isn't necessarily any significantly better. well-being takes into account a wider range of factors, and hopefully this short video has helped you to understand what some of those factors might be.